Hello guys, welcome back to narsicloud.com. Today we'll be going over how we can SSH into EC2 instance and EC2 main features and some of the purchasing options of EC2. Um, so, so before we dive into today's session, let's recap quickly what we have gone through in our last video. So, so actually we've gone through the EC2 instance creation in our last video, and so before that we were going through some of the basic concepts of cloud and what are these physical hardwares and how EC2 instances are created on these hardwares as a virtual machines. So like you see here, these are all four different EC2 instances. They're all four virtual machines. So in this example, they are just ending up on this one hardware, but they could end up anywhere on this any of these hardwares. Um, this is a virtual machine. We talked about what virtual machine is, and also we've gone through what is really a machine, what comprises of this machine, and then by that example we understand what virtual machine is. So after that we have logged into AWS account, and we practically created EC2 instance. So let's go to um, Amazon AWS console. So here we have gone through EC2 instances. So basically we clicked on launch instance button in our last video, and then we selected the free tier eligible Amazon Linux machine, and we defaulted whatever has been chosen here, and then we clicked on next configure when we left the defaults here as well, and also here, and then we added some tags, one tag here, and next one is security group. That's also we left it as a default. Right now it's open to public, but we don't have to worry about that as it is just a demo. And then we clicked on review and launch. So that with that we concluded our last session. So we created EC2 instance. Now we see that it's in running state, and also we've gone through some of the details here. So in the description you can see what is the instance ID. You will all understand the importance of instance ID and some of the parameters here in the later videos. So for now, so whenever you create any EC2 instance, you will that will get assigned a new ID which will be unique, and then you can see the state of instance running and the type, security groups. So you can also see the key pair name that you created. um, so yeah, we can see all the details about EC2. You can see public DNS, which is what you're going to use, but practically in the real-time world you won't use the public IP address like this. This is just for the demo purposes, but when it comes to that point, I will explain you clearly how you will handle things in the real time. If you're in an enterprise level, how you would handle, you will launch EC2 instance, and you won't send any public IP address to that. You will just use the private IP, and but private IP won't be available to the public. So I cannot access, even though I create a EC2 instance, I cannot access with the IP address, private IP address. So yeah, all those details I will go over in the later videos. But for now, let's understand that I will be accessing this instance machine um, with public IP address. So that's all we have gone through in our last video. So today I will be showing you how we can SSH. So basically we created EC2 instance. So that means this machine, so like right here, this machine could uh, could have been created uh, somewhere here, right? So let's assume that this is one of the virtual machines that we created, right? So the one which we created that ended up here. So let's understand that. So every time you create EC2 or you do anything in AWS, try to connect that to the real world. So for example, imagine that or envision that okay, I just created EC2 instance, and that would have created somewhere in the cloud provider's dedicated um, their data centers. So once you understand that concept, always if you're in sync with that point, then it will be easy for you to go through a lot of services in AWS. So that will be very helpful. So please try to understand that. Um, so so we created that. Now let's go here. Open up your terminal, and here this is the key pair that we created yesterday. So that's the .pem file. So if you look up in the Finder, this is the .pem file. So what is exactly the key pair file means? It is a regular SSH key pair concept, public private key concept actually. So let me go over the basic definition of SSH. So basically SSH allows you to log into any machine passwordless. um, how does that work? So for example, I have some host somewhere, and then I would like to connect to that host from my machine without password. What is the setup that I have to do? So SSH, how does that work? With the SSH, we will create the key pairs. We'll create a public key and a private key. So to connect to that machine, what I have to do is I have to copy my public key to that machine which I would like to connect, and then I will keep my private key in my machine. So that's all the setup that I have to do. So from my machine, I could just directly SSH into that machine. So SSH will take care of figuring out using my private key and using the public key out there. Uh, it will figure out, it will authenticate that it is authenticated machine that you could allow connection to. So that's what the key pair SSH key pair concept. So the same concept has been applied here by AWS. So what's happening when you create a NRC key pair, that we created a key pair, right? Whenever you create the key pair, what AWS does is it retains the public key with itself onto this EC2 machine, and it gives us the private key. So this is the private key file. So if you open up that, let's cat that. See, this is the private key, beginning RSA private key, and the public key is out there on the EC2 machine. So once you download that key pair after creating the EC2 instance, before you connect using key pair to EC2 machine, make sure that you change the permissions. So it has to be 400. I changed it already, but make sure that you change it, because AWS won't allow you to SSH into that machine if key pair is publicly viewable. So let me show you that. Change mode 777. So right now it is available to everybody, right? Anybody can read this file. So how do we SSH into EC2? SSH-I, and you will provide .pem file and EC2 user. By default, it will be EC2 user for your to log into your EC2 instances. So EC2 user at, you will take this public DNS. That's it. Enter. So this is what you get. It's because it's saying that it is unprotected private key file because it's too open, right? It is permission 777. It's too open to everyone. So what we should do is change mode 400 key file. Now try running that command, and we are there. We SSH'd into our mission. Right now I am in my EC2 machine. See the IP address You can see that IP address here. um, See, this is the private IP address. So 172.31.24.122. So you got your mission. It's that easy. Just quickly launched your instance within few minutes, and you got your mission. It's in front of you. It's like we purchased one Linux machine, and it's at our home. So now you can do whatever you want. You can install software onto this machine. You could install any server onto this machine, and you can deploy quickly to this machine. You know, it's all very easy. So so now I hope you got some understanding about what is EC2 instance creation and how you can use that. How does it look like in cloud? When everybody is saying that EC2, what does it mean? What is instance means? It is a virtual server. So um, yeah, so this is what I would like to explain you about EC2 creation for now. So let's go over to the next topic in this session is EC2 main features. So my intention is I would like to give you some overall view about EC2 instance before going to the next topic of security, how you can secure EC2 instance and all that. Because once you have a base idea, then it will be easy for you to understand the upcoming topics. So that's why I would like to go over the main features of EC2 instance. Even though we have gone through them in the initial videos roughly, today I would like to give you a specific description about EC2 instance. So our next topic is EC2 main features. What are the EC2 main features, right? Um, so like I said, EC2 instance itself is a virtual machine that will be running on physical hardware in cloud providers a data center, right? So what is the advantage of this EC2 instance? So if you see here, the first point is scalable computing capacity. So it's all about purchasing some computing capacity, computing power from cloud, and we'll be using that computing power to run our applications. That's all it means, the base idea, right? So what is scalability here? Scalable computing means you should be able to add more computing capacity based on your application needs. So as and when your application is getting more and more traffic um, load, then you should be able to add more computing capacity to your EC2 instances. That means you should be able to add up more number of EC2 instances without interrupting your existing application running, or depending on the load decreasing, you should be able to take out some of the instances and bring them down, which is shrinking the number of instances. It's scaling up or scaling down, right? So that's what the scaling computing scalable computing capacity. You should be able to scale it horizontally. That means adding more number of instances based on your load increasing on your application, or decreasing the number of instances as the load decreases. That's what the scalable computing means. So each EC2 instance you will get some computing capacity. So as you add more, you will get more computing capacity. And the next important feature is you don't have to invest money upfront. What that means? Um, so you got your application, and you don't know how many users are going to use your application and how much load is going to come to your application. So we don't have to invest more money and purchase a lot of hardware, keeping it idle. Those kind of scenarios we don't have to go through like we used to go through them in traditional approach. But after this cloud, it's completely manageable, and we don't have to invest any money upfront. We just could start up with one EC2 instance, which will cost you very few dollars, depending on the type of instance that you choose. So that is a huge advantage of using your moving your infrastructure to the cloud, and can launch as many as or as few virtual servers as we need. So it all depends on, it's again the same point. We can launch as many as we want just like that within few seconds, or we can reduce them and scale up or down based on the requirements. So it's all kind of explaining the same thing. So finally it comes down to anything comes down to running your application in the cloud using the computing capacity. That's all it comes down to. Anything, database or storing your files, everything you're using the infrastructure in the cloud. So these are all the main features of EC2. There are tons of features about EC2, but if you remember these points, you should be able to convince anyone to move to cloud, or you should be able to answer the questions if you face in your interview. These are all the main points. So our next point is EC2 purchasing options. So the one which I showed you is on-demand instance type. So what that means, whenever you get some demand, your demand is increasing, then you will launch more number of instances. So as you the pay as you go model, so that's on demand. On demand you will launch new instances. So there are four types of EC2 purchasing options. Depending on your need, you will purchase those instances, and it will save you a lot of money. So the first one is reserved instances. As the name is suggesting, it is reserving some capacity for ourselves in advance. So when do we do that? So if we know that our application is going to get a lot of users, um, we anticipate a lot of load. We are very sure about that. So we will definitely need this much computing capacity in the cloud. So if you're very sure about it, we will definitely pay upfront when they're giving some discount, right? So if you pay upfront, or if you go for reserved instances, you will get up to 75% discount when compared to dedicated when compared to on-demand EC2 type instances. So what that means is, reserved instances means, you look at this diagram. So you got a lot of hardware in your cloud provider's data center, and reserving some compute capacity means you are reserving some compute capacity of a bunch of machines actually. So it could be on the same machine, it could be on different machines, doesn't matter. So out of all these cloud machines, you'll get some compute capacity we reserved. That means we purchased and we paid upfront. So whenever it's dealing with money, whenever you pay something in advance, you'll get some discounts. That's the same concept. So and then whenever you see that, okay, I need to use these machines, then you can just quickly launch those machines and support your load for your application. So that's what the reserved instances means. So how you do that? So basically you go here, you see that there are different types of instances. You go to the reserved instances and you purchase reserved instances. So it's going to cost some money, but we don't have to show that here in this training. But just try to understand the concept and scenario where we could use that, where we could use reserved instances whenever you need, whenever you know that your application is going to get these many users and load of your application, then you'll purchase some computing capacity, initial capacity at least, and you'll get some discount on that. And the next one is, yeah, these are the same scheduled instances, right? Scheduled instances is very similar to reserved instances, but the difference is, scheduled instances is also purchasing some computing capacity upfront, but it's only for a specific time. For example, if I have a scenario that my application will run during the business hours, and I would like to have some EC2 instances running during the daytime. So for that scenario, I don't have to pay, I don't have to have my EC2 instances running over the night, right? So I will specify, so I will purchase the scheduled instances specifying that the starting time of my EC2 instance running time would be 9 a.m. in the morning, and it should be ending at 5 o'clock in the evening. So I could specify like that, and that will be taken care by AWS automatically. That EC2 instances will be up and running and will be supporting your requests, and after 5 o'clock it will be shut down. So you will have to pay only for those. You will pay upfront actually for those for the scheduled period of time. So that's why they're called as scheduled instances. The other scenarios could be you could have some applications that would be running during the weekend. So you could specify that period of time and purchase those scheduled instances. And the next one is spot requests. Spot requests is something that you define your price. So for example, I define my price. That means it's kind of bidding, right? You bid your price, and whenever there is an increase in the current market price, that means if whenever the current market price of that EC2 instance goes up beyond your bid price, then you will get that EC2 instance will be running. That means you got your EC2 instance. For example, if I bid for $1, let's say, and then whenever the market price goes up to $2, then $1.5 or $1.1, then I'm gonna get my EC2 for $1 for me, and it will be running. And whenever the market price goes down, my EC2 instance will be shut down. So it's kind of the scenario, right? If your application could be interrupted, it could be offline for some time. For those kind of instances, this scenario will be very best, and it will be very cheap, right? You bid for very low price, and if you get the EC2 instance for that price, then it's well and good. So that is the concept of EC2 spot instances. And then dedicated hosts. Dedicated hosts, as the name is suggesting here as well, that you will get your own dedicated physical hardware from cloud data center. So all your instances will be running on your own dedicated hardware, which won't be shared to anyone. So the scenario would be some companies would have to go with compliance stuff, that regulatory stuff. That means your hardware machines should not be shared with anyone, and this is the ISO security stuff. So we have to be compliant to that. So that kind of rules for bigger companies, right? So for those kind of scenarios, your company can buy dedicated hosts, like as if they have their own hardware, and then they can run all those instances, EC2 instances, on the dedicated hardwares. So that means, what that means from the diagram we can see here. So I can have this host, this physical hardware, as my dedicated host for my company, and any of the other virtual machines can never share this hardware. Only I can share this hardware with my EC2 instances. That's what it means. So that's the concept of dedicated hosts. So that is the overall concept of EC2 instance. Under instances, we pretty much covered the basic definitions of all these, the scenarios of all these different types of requests. And as we go through more and more videos and doing security concepts and network things, you will come across these concepts again and again. Launching new instance, you will do that a lot of times. So for now, I think it is very concise and correct information that we need to know to continue our journey. And let's see what else we have. So yeah, that's all I planned for today. And in the upcoming video, I will be going over installing something in EC2 instance. Here I'll install something here, and I will show you. So in this mission, right, I will show you, I will run some server on this machine, and then I will show you how we can access that from my public browser, so that you will get end-to-end usage of EC2 machine, that how easy it is, and how we can install something and launch my application and easily access that from my browser. So that will be my next plan, and then after that we'll be going over how we can secure our EC2 machine um, from the public, and only we can restrict that to specific users, those kind of things. And it will be very interesting going forward. So yeah, that's all I have for today, guys. And if you like this video, please click on like button, and please subscribe to this channel, and you'll get to see a lot more videos like this on different technologies. And please post your comments as well. That will be helpful for me to grow. And for the time being, whenever you get a chance, just go through AWS documentation and explore your knowledge, and whatever you learn from these videos, try to enhance that. And we will be continuing this journey well, and with all your support. And okay, that's all I have. And um, just go through upcoming videos, and stay tuned. You'll get very interesting stuff. And I'll meet you in the next coming video, and have a good day. Thank you.